Coach, thanks for joining us. And I know it's been a tough road here for the last 4 or 5 months, but school is starting in a couple of weeks, so your players will be coming back onto campus. It's going to be different for you, though, because normally you have fall ball. This year, will that happen? Will it not happen?
The plan is to have fall practice, yes. We won't have outside competition, so we won't scrimmage other teams this fall. We may not even be able to host an alumni game. We got to see how that looks here in the next few weeks, and then if we think logistically and obviously with health and safety in consideration, if it makes sense. But for the plan going forward, once the kids are on campus, getting them, in kind of the protocol and what we need to do to keep them safe and healthy, and then get into the weight room and get onto the field and get some lacrosse sticks in their hands and get the coaches on the field and keep working at building our program.
If all goes well, when would you guys start to practice here in the fall?
We might get small groups as early as September 1st. Very, very basic, very low intensity, low volume in regards to reps and intensity, but it might be feasible as early as September 1, potentially mid-September with slightly bigger groups is what we're hopeful for, and making sure our guys are doing the right things to get to that point, and and being able to build from there. So we'll see how that all plays out.
The situation that the spring coaches are in, that fall winter sport coaches are not in, is that the NCAA granted a waiver for those players to be able to get an extra year. How do you deal with that? How do you decide? Because you got incoming freshmen coming in too. So all of a sudden you have a 75-man roster. I mean, you got to work those things through.
Yeah, that's not our plan. It's the decision for the 2020 seniors to come back or not was in their court. I didn't want to be the ones to tell them that you have to stay or you can't stay. Again, it was just devastating for them in their senior year to have that season cut in half and not be able to finish it out on their own terms. So it was up to them, and a lot of our guys had job opportunities lined up and felt like they wanted to take advantage of those, and then they've worked hard to get to that point. Obviously, being student athletes at Towson, Towson set them up very well to continue their path and get out into the working force and make an impact there. So the majority of our seniors decided to do that. We have a couple seniors that decided to return. One of them was already decided to return anyways, but the other one made the decision to forego his potential job and come back and be a part of the program again.
So the other thing besides the roster is now you have to start worrying about, I guess, scheduling, because if things loosen up a little bit, you've gone to Denver, you've gone to Ohio State to play games. Is it a situation where you may have to look at your spring schedule this year and maybe have to make some adjustments to that and try to stay closer to home?
Yeah, that I think every spring sport coach wants, it probably got to like the middle or late April of this past spring, after the seasons were shut down and kind of got situated on what the process was going to look like for the remainder of the semester. I think a lot of coaches started looking at what it's going to look like for the next year. Always planning ahead, always planning for for what's next, and expecting potential budget concerns and restrictions there. So we started that process. Fortunately, the majority of our schedule has stayed intact for what we normally have. We are still working on a couple contests, non-conference contests that the two teams that we're working with, we're still trying to figure out if it's feasible, if it's just flat out smart to do it or not, in the in the grand scheme of things. And that's a conversation we continue to have. So obviously we're managing, a slightly larger roster with a good group of freshmen coming into a very uncharacteristic college environment than what they thought they would, and returning our other guys to campus, and then planning out, obviously, hopefully, a legitimate spring schedule that we've always had. And, fortunately we get to, play a lot of local teams,
Right.
so we don't have to worry about the travel concerns as much as a lot of other programs. So we're very fortunate in that as far as the quality of competition close by.
The other thing is the CAA, I guess, announced that this year, at least, every team in the conference is going to make the tournament. Is that true?
Correct. Yep.
And how will that work? Will first and second place get a bye? Because, you got 6 teams.
Yeah, I don't know if they've disclosed that yet to it all, but yeah, I would imagine it's it's going to be something similar to that. I don't know exactly those details and how it's going to play out overall. So it's something that, again, we got to prepare for after that last regular season conference game, being able to, be ready for what's next. But just knowing that regardless of where we place, we have an opportunity to compete for a championship, which is always a hard and fast goal for Towson Lacrosse.
Well, you've won 5 of them, so you obviously know what you're doing when you get that team in that tournament. All right, on a really happy note, MLL, PLL have been playing, and there are Towson guys all over the place. How much have you enjoyed watching that over the last few weeks?
Honestly, it's been pretty neat. Typically, our summers as college lacrosse coaches are jam-packed with, spending, 12, 15 hours a day out in the baking sun, watching high school kids compete in different events and tournaments and showcase events. So we might not have the opportunity to catch all the professional action, whether you want to do it as a fan of the sport and a spectator, or to follow our guys that have moved on to the pro ranks. So being able to have the opportunity to watch our guys that played in the MLL and that are currently playing in the PLL is just it's awesome. I've got my kids at home. They're tuned into who's playing on what teams, and watching those guys and cheering them on and cheering their teams on. So for me, it's been neat to get back to being a fan of the professional game and being able to really watch it and not have to worry about as many other things going on at the same time, but also obviously really excited. And it's been fun watching our alumni be able to get on the field and compete and really have a big impact within the teams that they're competing for. And so amazed to see, but not surprised to see Zach be able to help lead the Boston Cannons to the MLL championship.
And for you as a former player in the MLL, do you have allegiance to the teams that you played for? And then what happens if one of your guys is playing on a team that you didn't play for and they're playing one of your former teams?
Yeah, I mean, playing for the Bayhawks for my entire MLL career, I definitely have a deep affection for those guys and the organization. And, they just they treated me so well throughout the entire process. And, very, very grateful for that opportunity and to be with that organization. So always pulling for those guys as much as I can. But if they're going against, one of our alumni and stuff, it's kind of a win-win for me in that regard, pulling for our guys to do well and play well, and if the alumni win, awesome for them, excited. And if the Bayhawks win, obviously awesome for the franchise and organization.
All right, Coach. Well, we thank you for taking some time, and hopefully future MLL and PLL stars will be on the field for you in the fall and then in the spring coming up.
Absolutely. We hope so.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Spiro.